attention to the midfield for the senior presentation. For our first senior, we have G. Biagioni, apologies, who will be our starting loose head prop this afternoon. They're walking out with their mom, Christine, their dad, Gino Jr., and their brother, Gino III, their aunt, Luann, and their girlfriend, Jordan. G is a sports management major who has earned a place on the dean's list during their time at Queens. After graduation, they plan to find a job in the sports industry, doing operations or equipment management for a professional sports team. G would like to thank their family for the undying support and love they have given them through the 4 years. They want to thank their father and brother for pushing them on the pitch and their mother for pushing them in the classroom. Lastly, they would like to thank the coaches here at Queens for providing the things needed for them to succeed. Next, for our second senior, we have Bridget Caswell, who will be starting at hooker this afternoon. Walking with Bridget are her mother Jen and her dad Mike and her fiance Isaac. Bridget is a nursing major who has made the dean's list every semester and who has been named to the NIRA All-Academic Team last year. She's active at the Queen's University of Charlotte's Association for Nursing Students. After graduation, Bridget and Isaac will be getting married. She plans to start her nursing career in Maryland with hopes of working in an ICU and possibly achieving a doctor of nursing practices to become a CRNA. More than anything, Bridget is excited to become a mom someday. She is grateful to her parents for always being in her corner, for her siblings, extended family, and Isaac's family for their ongoing encouragement, and of course to her fiance Isaac for being her best friend and steady presence throughout the 5 years together. As she closes this chapter, Bridget honors the journey that has brought her and looks forward to the new adventures ahead, surrounded by love and support of her family and friends. Next, we have Annalise for our starting tight head prop. We have Annalise Richardson. Annalise is walking with her mom, her dad, and her grandparents. She is a double major in political science and Spanish with a minor in history. She has been on the dean's list for 5 semesters and is part of the Sigma Delta Pi, the Spanish Honor Society. For the past 2 years, she was also the vice president of the Pre-Law Association on campus. On the athletic side of things, she was also part of the squad that won the Division II National Championship in 2022. She also wants to thank all her coaches, family, and teammates who have believed in her and pushed her for all those years. Next up, we have Tyler Dickens, our first starting lock. Tyler is walking today with her parents, Allison and Toby Dickens. She is a business commerce major who's transferred to Queens and has now been here for almost 2 semesters. During her time at both schools, Tyler has made the dean's list every semester and maintained a 3.9 GPA. She's also been recognized on the NIRA All-Academic Team. In addition to commuting to Queens every day, Tyler works at the YMCA and serves as a project intern at Nader Development. Taylor was also involved in Women in Business and entrepreneurial clubs. Tyler is in the job application process and plans to begin her career in the corporate world after graduation. She would like to thank her family and coaches for their support and dedication to her growth. Next, we have our second starting lock. We have Candela Mangiardi Carola. Candela is being walked by her amazing supportive parents and brother who flew in all the way from Ireland. It took her 2 schools to get here, but she finally decided to finish out her exercise and sports science degree at Queens. Candela has been on the NIRA All-Academic Team and is the study hall manager for the women's rugby team. She's also helped various teammates set up clubs on campus, and in the future she plans on attending grad school for physical therapy. Finally, she'd like to thank all her coaches, athletic trainers, friends, and family who have helped her get to this point in her rugby journey. Following Candela, we have our starting eight-man, Maggie Sweeney. Today, joining Maggie Sweeney is our former teammate Leah Price and Nicole Ross. Maggie has been playing rugby for the past 8 years of her life and has been on the NIRA All-Academic team. She's going to be graduating with a major in communication and a minor in leadership. At the moment, Maggie is looking at going into conservation by working with the fire crews out west. Next up, starting at scrum half, is the backs captain and senior Salome Schmidt. Walking with Salome are her parents, Sandrine and Sebastian Schmidt, and her sisters Leah and Charlotte Schmidt. Salome is a major in nursing at Queen's University of Charlotte. During her time at Queen's, she has been fortunate to play on the U20 USA team in Canada twice, compete with South Regional All-Star teams, serve in leadership positions since her freshman year, and win the Division II National Championship with Queens as a freshman. She was also named to the NIRA All-Academic team last year and is active member of the Queen's University of Charlotte Association of Nursing Students. After graduation, Salome plans to move back to Greenville, South Carolina to begin her nursing career in women's health or pediatric care. Salome is deeply grateful to her parents for their endless love and support and for being at every game to cheer her on and her team on. Next, we have Anouk Viverberg. As our starting outside center, walking with Anouk are Queen's women's rugby coaches Danny Harlow and Matt Everett, and our athletic trainer Michaela Miller. Anouk is a studio art major with a minor in pre-art therapy. She's also vice president of the Queen's University Arts Club and hopes to continue exploring different fields related to her major and minor in the next couple of years. Closing out our senior presentation, we have Abby Beaver as our starting leader. Joining Abby tonight are her parents, Amy and Van Beaver. Abby is studying graphic design as her major and business as a minor. Throughout her time at Queen's, she has been named the president of the American Institute of Graphic Arts chapter at Queen's, as well as the vice president of the Geometrics Award. Abby has also achieved the NIRA All-Academic status each year she attended Queen's. Outside of the classroom, Abby takes pride in running and operating the women's rugby social media accounts and fostering cats from a local animal control. After graduation, she plans on pursuing a career in graphic design and exploring new hobbies and sports that scares her parents. Let's give these seniors one more round of applause. We thank all the families and friends for joining us today to honor these remarkable student athletes and their contributions to the Queen's Rugby program. In a short bit, let's return our attention to the pitch and get ready for an exciting matchup between the Queen's Royals and Princeton Tigers. Let's go Royals!
Hello and welcome here to Dixon Field in Charlotte, North Carolina. We got some women's rugby here on deck in the QC. Emma Claire Cantrell, Nick Claus here with you. And right now we got Queens and Princeton about ready to get underway. EC, two teams that haven't had the best start to the year, but both feel this is a good opportunity to get better and possibly pick up a win.
Yeah, I think both of them have had a pretty difficult season so far. They're in a very challenging league, but I think this is a really good matchup. And we're actually seeing a game here that's playing 13 players versus 13 players. There was some trouble with fielding players, so I'm very curious to see how this game is going to go, but I think it's going to be a great matchup, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah, going with no flankers, and EC, if you could explain why that is with the 13. Like you said, not necessarily a official rugby 13 on 13, but with the way it's working, they're going to go no flankers today.
Yeah, so the flankers, when they're in the scrum, they're the easiest position to peel off. Flankers are the two players on the edge that just peel off as fast as they can, and they don't really add a lot to the whole process of the scrum. Their goal is to get out of there and make the tackle and make the defensive read or the attacking read as fast as they can. So they're the easiest players to pull off the pitch to keep the game of rugby still going forward and a similar structure to the 15 versus 15.
So take that off the sides, keep it as close to the 15 game as possible. The same rules will be applied. We are playing 15s rugby here, but if you count, it's 13 versus 13. Both these teams, similar schedules. They both saw Navy and lost pretty handedly, 76-5 for Princeton. For Queens, the Royals lost their first game of the season right here at Dixon Field, 58-7. Princeton looking for that first win of the season, 0-3 on the year. As we wait for play to start here, two more games after this one for Queens, as it is a cool fall day here in Charlotte, and it's a great one for rugby. Queens started with the kickoff. Princeton will push early. With 13, also a tiny bit more open space on this big field. Tigers getting going quick, right around that Q in the center circle. Pushing up, prop Charlie Wolf. Good tackle. CC Scarf bringing down the player. Is now some open space. Getting dragged down. Anna Gregory. 14 in orange. Tigers out of the Ivy League. Crunching hit there. Biagiani wearing the 25 dark blue. See her all day right up the middle. Two halves, 40 minutes each.
Looks like it's just going to be a scrum going to the Royals. It was a knock-on from the Princeton side. I really like the start of this game so far. I think Princeton has come in very strong and dominant. We saw Queens with the kickoff. They tried to go for it short. They weren't able to receive it. Princeton came away with the ball and has made their way down the pitch pretty fast. Just making a mistake there, it'll be the Royals' ball.
So a scrum. Salome Schmidt, the scrum half, wearing number 9 for Queens, there to place it. Good up-down movement. Scarf to the outside. Miss pass there, intended for Kylie Pappas. Getting to the edge on the outside. Maggie Sweeney. Number 1 in, Annalise Richardson. Queens unable to advance much past midway here early on. Princeton got it into positive territory. EC mentioned it. A short kick for Queens, but since then, haven't been able to break just over this spot right now. Here they finally do. Some advancement for the Royals. Francesca Clark to the outside. Here's a good run. Pulled back. Kylie Pappas there again for the Royals as she's dragged down on the other side.
Yeah, I really like the gameplay that we're seeing from Queens in that set piece. We saw a really strong set piece from their backs players working to the edge and just finding a lot of space there. I think they've done a great job so far finding those gaps and manipulating the defenders. You see them make their way down the field pretty quickly, even though they got dragged into touch and it was a line out to the Princeton side.
Line out in for the Tigers. Now they got to work their way all the way back. They'll kick it on. Pappas was there to receive, drops it. Queens gets a call. Momentum swinging the other way with Clark. There's the whistle.
Offsides penalty for Queens.
Just an offsides player on the Princeton side. I love what Queens and Princeton is doing with these penalties. A lot of the times, especially early on in games, we see teams kick to touch often, slowing down the pace of the game on the penalties. But recently we've seen multiple quick taps to keep the momentum going, and kind of, I think the idea there is to make a statement as a rugby team and try to be the first one over the try line, so just to keep their momentum there as they kick it to touch this time for the line out.
Royals close now, nearing that try line. They are inside the 22-meter line now. Trying to push off the line out. Ball gets free now to the outside. The scrum half tapped it over the line. Did not see a touch or a try.
Unlucky there for Salome Schmidt. She just, really was fighting to get over the white line. Had a little bit of a knock on there. She's a senior. She's a fantastic player, playing the scrum half position today, as she always does. She has international experience playing with the U20s on some Canadian tours, and she's just a great asset to the team, so it's unlucky there that she couldn't finish the try.
Got right up to the line. Lost hold of that ball, so Princeton will send it the other way as they will kick to touch. They'll go into the midfield, and Pappas will take it. Scarf gets grabbed down. There's Schmidt. EC just mentioned. Clark still up. Gagione grabbed it too, and they're making their way slowly but surely. Now owning possession. And there it is for the Royals. A try, put 5 on the board, and the Royals march their way down, get the first score of the game.
Yeah, we saw a goal line dropout from the Princeton side. The referee may have saw something different that we saw up here. It could have been held up, so the call was a goal line dropout, so you actually get the ball back as the Queens side. So they did a great job recovering that ball, just staying patient and having those one-up carries and getting through the defensive line. They found the breaks, they found the space, and just driving over. G. Biagione, the senior on senior day, scored a try.
Biagione, powerful right up the middle to get that try. 5 on the board, looking for 2 more potentially. Scarf for the after try attempt. Up and good, 7-0 to start this one for Queens.
Yeah, and it's always, it always feels really good to be the first players to put the scores on the board. Like I was saying, you saw that momentum from both sides when we saw the quick taps on the penalties. Both teams really wanting to be that team to put the first 5 or 7 on the board, and the Royals were able to come away with it, just capitalizing on their possession that they have. When you have ball in hand, you have to, maintain that and work your way down the field, and they did exactly that.
That first score, so key, just to get confidence and also playing with that lead. But as we've seen in matches we've called together, recent matches you've seen, getting those first points is definitely not everything.
Right. Yeah, we saw last night with the men's game, actually, Belmont Abbey scored the first 2 tries in the first 5 minutes of the match, and they actually came away losing the match around 45, I believe, to 19.
Not always about how you start, about how you finish. Right now, the Royals starting well. See if they can continue that here against the Princeton Tigers. 0-3 on the season. Queens at 1-4. Tyler Dickens gets dragged down. Almost a break for Queens. Breaking tackles all over Princeton. An army to bring that ball down and halt the progress. Goes back for Dickens again. Annalise Richardson with her pushing up. Good opening for the Royals, can get some real estate. Zoe Bartlett gets dragged down. Approaching 10 minutes gone in the first half. We saw Princeton spend the first 3-4 minutes in their offensive half of this field. Since then, the Royals have kept up the pace.
Yeah, I like the idea here to have a little chip and chase, a crossover kick for the winger to potentially catch. Even though the ball went out of bounds, Princeton still is going to have a line out, but deep into the 22. So Queens here has the opportunity to steal it in the line out or put a lot of defensive pressure on them. They've really worked down the field and done a fantastic job of finding the space and manipulating that defense with some strong carries.
Line out, in for the Tigers. They take it. Pinned inside their 22, a dropped ball, getting dangerous, have to send it away. Get some breathing room for the Tigers, picked up in an opening. Pappas. Great open field tackle to stall that progress. Ava Gregory on the other end for the Tigers. Here it is, the outside, and the Royals add on another try. 5 points on the board, and they'll try for 2 more, but right now, 12-0 the score.
Yeah, I think Queens is just doing a fantastic job right now of playing what is working for them. You come in with a set piece plan, a structure in play, but then you get on the field and you see what works, and their forwards are dominating in these carries. Princeton is caught off guard. They're on the back foot. Every single carry, they're making a gain line, and so they're just working to the edge, and right there the forwards put in the work, find the space, and then they're able to give it to the 13 of the Royals to dot it down for the try.
Very nicely done by Queens, keeping the momentum that they got off the first score, trying to make it 14-0. CC Scarf back again to go for 2. Anouk Viverberg is the one who gets the try. This one is short, so no 2 points. Will stay at 12-0.
Yeah, that can be a tough kick to make, especially from the edge. We saw last night the goalpost actually fell down during the game, so hopefully, fingers crossed, that doesn't happen today for the women's game. But I'm really liking what the Royals are doing. They're keeping the momentum going. Like I said, they're having great leg drive, finding the gaps in the defensive line of Princeton. Here, I think it's really important for Princeton to fix those gaps. They've got to stay connected as a team so that they can come up together to shut down that strong attacking side from the Royals.
So Princeton kicking it off. Biaggiani. Schmidt plays it to the outside, or sending it towards the middle. And Giardi Carroll getting a lot more involved, the number 6 in dark blue, as we're seeing her involved a lot. This one sent downfield. Princeton trying to regain the ground, have some open real estate. Great pass, good tackle. Tigers needing an answer. This game definitely not close to out of reach, but the big thing is not letting the Royals build on this lead too much, especially after back-to-back tries. As there's a call from our official.
And that's what Salome Schmidt is best at. She is amazing at getting over that ball and having that jackal. And we've seen a few attempts from both sides trying to get their hands on the ball and turn it over, just like we saw the Royals do there. So a fantastic penalty from Queens there, especially because Princeton had a lot of momentum going into that. We finally started to see them and their attacking side and what they can do. And I think they're still in this game. It's very early on, and we saw a little bit of it there, but Schmidt definitely saved the Royals there.
Line out for Queens. Biaggiani passing it in. Queens can work with it. Queens getting it out of the ruck. Princeton trying to keep the line tight, not allow any open space. Royals have broken through the past 2 times. They've pushed upfield on this half of the midfield line. There's Richardson taking a heavy hit, number 4. The lock on the other side, Stella McBride in orange. More aggressive defensively right now for Princeton. A lot of open space on the left side right now if you're Queens.
There we have it, another jackal successful take from Princeton.
Just stonewalled there. Ava Gregory could not get past. It's a nice hit. Francesca Clark stalling her progress one-on-one, taken away by the Royals. Maggie Sweeney snagged it out of the air. And now Queens will continue to work in positive territory. Approaching that final third inside the 22-meter line. Gregory now doing the stopping on the other end for Princeton. Dickens taken down. Queens already looking for their 3rd try with a 12-0 lead. Last one was by that young woman right there, G. Biaggiani.
Another jackal attempt that was successful from Princeton. Queens is just holding on to that ball, so the penalty is given to them.
So back-to-back there. Royals keep the ball. Richardson. Queens going back towards the middle. A fake. Open space. There's a handoff and another one for the Royals.
Yeah, there she is again. It's G. Biagioni, the senior, on senior day once again. Queens did a fantastic job there of using their forwards once again. They're just having those big one-up carries, but also continuing to have the ball movement in those carries. So they're making gain line, and then they're getting those little offloads to kind of put the Princeton defense on the back foot. And then after they get those big one-up carries, we're also seeing them work to the edge a little bit more, having those 4-on-2s, having those 3-on-2s to give their backs a little bit of time to play. But right there was just the offload to G, the senior, to dot it down for a try.
Great passing from Queens, and for the second time, Biagiani gets another try and adds 5. We'll see if this time CC Scarf can add 2 more. And here's Scarf. Up and good for 2, so make it 19-0. And tomorrow on Queens Sports Network, field hockey returns to Besant Field as the Royals take on the Richmond Spiders. So be sure to tune in right here. QSN coverage starts at 12 Eastern, only on queensathletics.com. Plenty more Royals sports this weekend. A big soccer game tonight as well. That one on the road against Lipscomb in the frenzy of fall sports, and it actually feels like fall now, so those line up perfectly. Does this weather remind you of Cardiff Met at all, or was it colder?
Oh, it was much colder. There is no fall in the UK. It goes straight from a nice 70-degree summer to a very frigid, rainy winter.
Got hit on a lot of hard surfaces, probably.
Oh, yeah.
Little cooler on the turf today. Intercepted!
Oh.
Scarf kicks it on. Princeton snags it out of the air. Fullback Ciara Loughran was there defending for the Tigers as they'll kick it the other way. Francesca Clark with Pappas on the right side, beats a few before she's taken down. 20 minutes gone now in the first half.
An unlucky call there for the Royals. They had such great go forward. You just saw double movement there. She lost the ball and tried to regain it. So you saw she tried to get it back, and it's going to be Princeton's ball. They tried to take the quick tap there to keep that momentum going. I love what these women are doing, keeping the pace of play, especially from the center of the pitch. They know that kick to line out might be a bit challenging, so they want to get this ball going like we're seeing just now.
Great movement. Maya Naderd, the 8. Pushed up field, was able to get some real estate and a nice pass, and leads to this. Some open field, and a great open field tackle by Pappas. Still going for the Tigers. Queens finally getting the numbers back to defend, coming out of the ruck here. Another attack for the Tigers. Haven't been this close since very early on in this first half. Biagiani with a big tackle, loses it right at the line, but there's a whistle.
Oh, and a yellow card for the Royals. It's just going to be a high tackle. So now it will be 13 v 12. G. Biagioni is coming off the field for 10 minutes. And, you know, in situations like this, it could be a penalty try. We saw it last night with the men's game. When you get so many penalties or a big penalty in such a try-scoring opportunity, you're taking points away from the team. So curious to see what the referee's going to do here.
So placed just outside the far goal post.
So no penalty try. They'll have an opportunity to score here.
And they'll push. They're right near that try line, not too far to go. And the Tigers get 5 on the board. Scoreless, no more. Princeton gets the try.
I love the decision there to just take it yourself. You back yourself as a player with the leg drive, with the strength. We've seen a lot of tackles in this game where players are coming in, standing up a little bit higher than they should, so you're not getting those big dominant hits. Obviously, we've seen those big dominant hits, but I think the Princeton team knew that they could push over and drive just by having a little dummy there and dotting it down over the try line.
Didn't have much farther to go. That call on Biagiani was pretty much right in front of the try line, so taking it herself, and Princeton gets on the board. They'll try to make it 7 here. And no good. Just outside, so it stays 19-5, a 14-point lead for Queens.
And we see how excited Princeton gets when they finally get those points on the board. I think that's really important for them, especially having a player down on the Royals side. They've got to capitalize here. There's going to be more space for them to make an amazing play, to get down the field, especially receiving this ball after scoring those points.
G. Biagiani got a yellow out for 10 minutes. That was about 90 seconds ago, 2 minutes ago. So we'll keep an eye out for when she can re-enter. But right now, as EC said, an advantage for Princeton in terms of numbers. And if you're just joining us, it is 13 versus 13 because of the way the numbers worked out for these two teams. Right now, 13 on 12 with a player missing because of a yellow card for the Royals. A great opportunity for the Tigers. Gregory. Brought down by Pappas, the last line of defense for Queens. Taken away by Queens.
Queens forces a knock on there from their aggressive ruck defense, and so they turn over the ball. They have advantage now to see if they can make some leeway.
You saw the 9 and Salome Schmidt just come in and start blowing that up. Queens well defending on their end of things right now. Numbers not in their favor. Trying to keep the 14-point lead. Big movement. Beaverberg brought down, and now an opening. Solid hit on Maggie Sweeney, number 7 in dark blue for Queens. Richardson bobbles it. Picked up, but a whistle. Princeton will take it.
Yeah, just an unfortunate knock-on right there. We saw the first knock-on from the Royals, which is what the ref is signaling, followed by another knock-on from Princeton. The referee's going to play the first knock-on, so it's going to be Princeton's ball. But loving what both teams are doing. We've seen great ball movement from both sides. At the start of the match, we saw a lot of one-up carries because that's what was working. And I think both teams are really warmed up, ready to go now. So now they're having to play that edge-to-edge rugby. One thing I will say is if these players can just square up those defenders, I think the ball will just do the work and they can make it a little bit more downfield, a little bit quicker.
So the scrum for Princeton coming here. They'll restart it very quickly. Kenzie El Shazli.
And we have the scrum here without the flankers. So flanker is a great defensive role in a scrum. So I'm curious to see if they are going to add any additional eight-man picks. You have the 9 who's defending and the 10, but you're missing that flanker whose basic role is to just make those big one-up carries, as we see the 8 picks here.
High pass goes down, but the official blows the whistle, so Princeton has time.
It's going to be a high tackle call from the referee, so it's going to be a penalty to Princeton as they quick tap.
Quick tap to start. Princeton making waves on the far side once again. Malinka Quemo had the last try for the Tigers, making it 19-5 as we approach 30 minutes. Nearly 3/4 of the way through the first half. Tigers spending a lot of time lately on this end of things. Maya Natord brought down the 8 for the Tigers, pushed outside. El Shazli goes to grab it, the 9 for the Tigers. Kwame. Progress stalled. Royals take it back. Biagiani out right now. Can lose a lot of that size. In the middle for the Royals. Missed pass gets dropped.
It'll be a line out going to Princeton. Good job from Queens turning the ball over, getting that poach, especially being down a player. They know that they have to be really strong defensively here. They are on the back foot. So having that jackal, having that turnover is really crucial for them. Very curious to see what Princeton is going to do attacking-wise here. They've had really good ball movement within the last 5 minutes of the match, working all the way to the edge, even seeing a switch on the left side of the pitch, cutting back in. So just some smart rugby being played at this point of the match.
Sarah Zavia will check out as a substitution for Princeton is made. Queens still a player down with just 12 on the pitch, 13 for Princeton. Line out for the Tigers. Little too far over the Tigers. EC, what'd you see there?
Yeah, you just have to throw the ball directly down the channel. So both teams get an advantage, or the attacking side throwing the ball in gets an advantage by being able to manipulate their play and having different players jump around and kind of have those set piece plays. But it has to be contestable for both teams by going directly up the channel. So it just wasn't straight there, so it's going to be a scrum down to Queens.
Saw it on the line out, just a little bit too much of a direct pass from Princeton player to Princeton player, so that creates the scrum for Queens. Sent downfield. That was kicked by CC Scarf. Tigers trying to go the other way, not blown up by the Royals. Stay in Princeton. A big hit. Maisie Miller went down there. Alana Reese is in as a reserve. She had the big hit. Gregory gets brought down. Princeton threatening once again. Got 5 on the board to build some confidence. Can they get 5 more? Quemo has an opening, slides down, and there's a try for Princeton. The Tigers add 5 more. It is 19-10 here in Charlotte.
Just a perfect rugby play right there. We see the forwards dominating, going forward, just like the Royals were doing at the start of the match. Now we're seeing it from Princeton. The forwards are drawing in those defenders, especially because Queens is down a player. As they draw them in, you're allowing for opportunity on the edge. So we saw a 3 attacking player versus the 2 defending player, and the 13 of Princeton just made the perfect decision to take it in. She backed her leg drive and dotted it down once again. Quemo
with another try. As here is the 2-point. Gets up and good, so 19-12. And really, that yellow has been the change in this match because you saw Biagiani go to the sideline. She's re-entering right now, but she goes to the sideline. She has 2 tries. It's 19-0. It's 13-12. Princeton now gets 2 and a 2-point to make it 19-12.
Yeah, so she's definitely proven to be a key player herself, but I think it really is just, already being 13 versus 13, it's a different game. There's more space on the field. So when you have a player come off 13 versus 12, that changes a lot of things. And you see that when you get the ball moving edge to edge after drawing in through the middle of the field, more space just opens up and it's easier to play heads-up rugby.
Kick short by Queens. Grabbed down on a maul here from Princeton before going down. 7-point lead for the Royals now with 7 minutes just about remaining in the first half. It's 40 minutes, but we go based off of the official's whistle, so the timing can differ at times. Gregory gets open field, has the legs towards the try line. She scores another 5. The Tigers are rolling. We could see this one tied up if she gets 2. 19-17 now.
And what a statement from Ava Gregory there, just making moves down the side of the pitch. Like I said, Princeton is really starting to let the ball do the work. Even with Queens having their 13th player back on the pitch, they're still able to manipulate the defense to get it where that was about a 4-on-2. So Queens has to fold around the corner defensively. When you're in defensive line, you have to manipulate your players around the ruck to equal what's in front of you. Otherwise, you're going to have a moment like that where a player can just break through the line really easily.
Ciara Lofgren gets the 2 points, so just like that, we're tied up 19-19. Starts out heavy Queens in that first half. We're still in the first half, but for probably about the first 20 minutes, and now Princeton has completely turned this game around.
Yeah, and very quickly. We've seen just in the last 5 minutes how quickly they've scored points. So curious to see what's going to happen here as Queens kicks again. They've been kicking the ball very short, 10 meters, to try and contest for the ball, but it hasn't gone in their favor. So personally, I would start to kick the ball a little bit deeper so we can get them put on the back foot. As they still go to kick it short, Princeton has the ball close to the half.
Almost 35 minutes gone in the first. Cuomo, as Princeton continues to find gaps in this Queens line.
Queens definitely got lucky here. We saw again, you can just see the players ready to attack with their back line. They know their strengths are in that back line and moving the ball wide. Queens has got to move their players wide and then get up defensively to close it off and get up together. We're seeing players on the edge shoot up and then leave gaps in the center, which is resulting in that difficult play for them.
Here's a scrum for Queens. Salome Schmidt, the 9 for the Royals, placing. Immediately tackled on a 9v9 here. Kenzie El-Shassi.
Referee calls an offsides call there. I believe it was on the 9 that was tackling Salome Schmidt. I think she just went a little bit too early on that tackle. You have to wait till the ball's completely out before you can put that pressure on. So Queens will have the penalty as they kick to touch.
Kick to touch for a Royals line out.
And we haven't seen a lot of lineouts here because of how quickly the game has been played. They've taken a lot of quick taps to keep the momentum, to keep the drive. Maybe the thought process here is to slow down the game for Queens so they can play their structure in that half so they can score the points before the half.
Really only a handful of lineouts on either side of the pitch today. This one going with Queens, so we'll see if this one gets down the middle or a retry. Princeton went up early. Queens takes it very clean there on the lineout. Gets dropped. bobbling around. Cuomo almost grabbed it for Princeton, but the Tigers can take it.
Yeah, good pressure from the Tigers there. We saw really good ball movement once again, having a little out-the-back ball with players stacked, so just manipulating the defense in front of them. They just couldn't finish the play, and we saw a knock on there, so it's a scrum down to Princeton.
Princeton scrum this time. El Shazli placing. A 19-19 even game. Queens looking for win number 2 on the year. Princeton wants their first. Royals beat Mount St. Mary's up in Emmitsburg, Maryland, 38-7. Getting that win back on September 27th.
Good scrum penalty there from the props of the Queens side. The referee sees it. So Queens will come away with the penalty. Looks like they're going to kick to touch. A good drive from the forwards here. I think we just need to take a second to appreciate the Queens forwards here. They're very senior dominant here, and they've been extremely strong in this match, and I think they're the core of the team so far.
It is senior day here for the Royals. Covered that pregame. Honoring what's a pretty senior-heavy lineup. Eight different seniors starting today, as getting tangled there. Maggie Sweeney has to come back.
It was a really good idea. She saw the opening, she saw the gap to run a crash line off her attacking player, but the ball was just given a little bit too late, resulting in a forward pass. So the referee's actually going to come back to a previous penalty where Queens had the advantage, and so Queens will end up with the ball, even though it was their penalty. Referee's just taken it back a few moments to reset.
So Queens scrum just ahead of that 22-meter line. Whistle will blow as Schmidt turned back.
Yeah, we're just seeing some problems with the engagement from the front row on both sides here, so referee's going to reset that scrum to give them another chance.
Here's Queens. Quick breakup by Cuomo. She just grabs it herself. Getting later in this first half. Whistle could be coming anytime. Gregory had a great try a couple minutes ago. Picked up and dumped down by the Royals, keeping them on the positive side if you're a Queens fan in that final third.
Going to be a penalty here going towards Princeton as they take the quick tap.
The short time, seeing if they can get a couple points on the board before we go into the half. Seen some big runs from the Tigers today. Hasn't always been slow, incremental progress for Princeton. Looks like a 50-50 ball. Comes out with the Tigers.
Another jackal we have from Princeton. We saw it early from Cuomo as she takes the quick tap.
Cuomo has 2 tries, loses it on the pass. Then Cece Scarf's brought down with Queens in possession. Here's Biagiani. Had a huge impact early on. 2 tries for her. Scarf gets dragged down. Good progress. Everberg, last brought down for Queens, over back for Scarf. Working well on the right side, Princeton defending that 22-meter line. Scarf again, gaining good yards. Little behind, but stays with the Royals. Biaggiani fakes the pass, brought down. Still near the end of this first half, no whistle yet. Tied up 19-19, Queens with a final push. It's kicked on. Whistle will bring it back to the spot.
It's going to be Princeton's ball, if I'm not mistaken. A long gameplay there. We had a lot to recap. We had a lot of turnovers. Queens had the ball. Princeton had the ball. We had some jackals that didn't get called as penalties because they were successful. So we've seen Cuomo have a lot to do with that. She's been a great defensive player and attacking player in this match. So just applause to her for that.
Cuomo brought down for Princeton. Tigers pinned back, looking for room to breathe. And we will see the first half wrap up here. So whistle goes, and it is 19-19. EC, what are some of your takeaways, I should say, from that first half in a close one?
Yeah, I really like the momentum from both sides of this game. They've done a really good job of keeping the ball in play. We haven't seen a lot of stoppage, but I think that's also been a disadvantage for some of the sides. We saw there was a knock on because, they want to keep the ball going. Sometimes it's all right to take the tackle and get structured because we've seen how strong they can be in their set piece. Both teams have finally warmed up into this match, working to the edge, working their structure. So I think it's a really good match, and I'm excited to see what both teams can offer in the second half.
It's an exciting start, so should be in for an exciting finish. The Queens Royals here at home, 19-19, tied up with the Princeton Tigers. Will step aside, come back in just a little bit for second half action. Welcome back here to Dixon Field, Charlotte, North Carolina. Second half ready to get started here in the QC. 19-19. Queens Royals taking on the Princeton Tigers. Nick Kloss, Emma Claire Cantrell here with you. Very close first half, all Queens to start, and then Princeton came roaring back. A big part of this one was G. Biagiani. 2 tries in the first half, had a yellow, was out for 10 minutes, 13 on 12 rugby for that time, and 2 tries for the Tigers in that time as well. Just like that, it's a close one. Princeton looking for their first win of the year. Queens number 2, possibly on deck. So now the Royals going left to right on your screen. In the dark blue, Princeton right to left. EC, when we got done with that first half, it felt like momentum was just very clearly with the Tigers. What do you expect from Queens coming out of that break?
Yeah, you'd hope that at half you can kind of switch that from as your team is going into the game, coming off the big break. You got to go and talk about how they started the match and how they can keep going forward and what worked well and what didn't work well and how they can adjust to keep the game where they want it to be.
Line out from Princeton, quickly dragged down by the Royals. It's blown up and taken away by Schmidt. Good movement right now for the Royals. Going up and move. That one knocked down before it gets over to Zoe Bartlett, who snags it back up.
You see the referee there with his advantage arm out pointing towards the Queens player. That's because the Princeton player came in and punched the ball out, forcing a knock-on, which is actually a penalty against them. So we'll see if they can have go forward here.
Francesca Clark. Dragged down. Salome Schmidt's pass bobbled for a quick second. Pushed back upfield. CC Scarf. Pulled down by the Tigers. Common opponent for these two teams, both playing the Naval Academy. Midshipmen getting big wins against each team. It's the home opener for the Royals this year. Salome Schmidt picks it up. There's the whistle.
Yeah, Salome, I think, just came in from the side there, coming around the ruck is a big hit from Princeton there as they take the quick tap penalty.
Just drop the shoulder and run through it. Lower in the shoulder there, Lindsay Mulligan, utility for Princeton. Almost slipping through. Samantha handwork. Gregory saw her on a long try in the first half. Breaking free just over midfield on that one. Squeezing through. Maisie Miller finally brought down. Princeton in positive territory now. Just under 5 minutes in. If you're just joining us for this second half, it is 13 versus 13 because of the numbers that worked out for both sides on this trip to Charlotte. The numbers worked for 13 on 13, just playing with no flankers. So when G. Biagiani went out in the first half for Queens, it was 13 on 12 with the advantage to Princeton, able to take full advantage of that gift and make it 19-19 before the break. Now trying to break that stalemate. Great push from the Royals. Alana Reese. Reserve from the first half, staying in now to start the second. Mercedes Washington goes down. Whistle from the official.
I believe the Princeton player there was just coming in a little bit too hot when they dove into the ruck to try and get that poach. They landed on their hands, so you have to keep and hold your body weight if you go for those poaches and those jackals entering the ruck, as Queens will have the penalty and as they take the quick tap.
Richardson at the bottom of the pile. Salome Schmidt was trying to go quick touch, or trying to go a quick tap, but brought back by the official.
Yeah, just going forward in this second half here, we've seen a lot of poached attempts, and we've seen them become successful, and big hits from the Royals side here.
Coming out of that first half ready. I've already seen a very physical presence right now from Queens. Princeton takes it back.
So here we have a knock on from Princeton as they turn over the ball. It can be a pretty difficult skill as a team to react and switch quickly from defense to attacking side. You have to react and get back in your structure in a quick manner to execute what you want to execute. So teams have to be really patient and calm when turnovers like that happen. Otherwise, we see knock-ons like that in an important game perspective right now, as Queens will have a scrum down where they want to be to score a try.
So it was against Princeton on the knock-on. So this is a Queens scrum placed by Salome Schmidt. Schmidt gets it back. Washington bobbles it, taken back by the Tigers. Washington was coming all the way over to that right side, and here's a whistle. Princeton can take it.
Yeah, big defensive pressure there as Queens comes out of the scrum strong after they have their knock on. As I was saying earlier, without those flankers there, if you have the 8-man there to pick it, you are lining up against less players opposing your defensive side. So I think it was a good decision there for the 8 to take it and have a little handoff to Salome Schmidt. Just an unfortunate knock on there, leading here to a line out, which was not straight from the Princeton player. It can be difficult to, execute those throws, but you gotta throw the ball right up the channel like we discussed earlier. So Queens will take a scrum down here once again in the half that they want to be in.
Is that something where, as a player on that line out, are you trying to, I don't want to say cheat it, but cheat it a little bit, where it's a little closer to your team, or are you just trying to send it down the middle and then let your team do what they do?
Yeah, the hardest part about being in the hooker position and throwing those balls in isn't necessarily throwing it straight down the channel. It's throwing it to the exact mark, because you have manipulations and plays where you have to hit the exact marker at the exact time the player gets there. So that's the most difficult part about throwing those balls in.
Timing, a much bigger part of it than you'd think. There's a whistle going against Princeton. They'll retreat to the defensive end. Salome Schmidt will pick it up for Queens.
Yeah, we're seeing here in this second half that there's a lot more downtime going on. We've seen a lot of scrums, a few lineouts going forward, and I think players are coming in very strong-headed, wanting that fast momentum that they've had, and I think that's where those mistakes are coming in. So collecting your teams here, just calming things down so that they can play the structure and execute well, because that's ultimately how you score points, is keeping possession of the ball.
Some subs made for Queens, so fresh legs out for the Royals in that scrum. Schmidt gets it out. Washington dragged down. Now they'll try the left side this time. Washington has the pass deflected, was looking for Pappas, grabbed by the Tigers.
Referee's going to come back to a penalty that happened earlier in the scrum. You saw Queens drive so strong over the Princeton side, so they had an advantage. They didn't get the go forward that they wanted, so referee's just going to bring it back, as they'll have a penalty here.
Queens will kick to touch. Get towards that try line, now over the 22-meter.
I like the decision here to kick to touch. You know, as I said before, we've had a very frantic rugby game in the second half, and I think things just need to slow down a bit. We've seen that Princeton's lineout haven't really gone their way, and so I think Queens is going to capitalize here, and especially when they're this close to their try line.
That line out won back by Princeton, or at least popped back by Princeton. Looks like Queens still pushing that other way. Lana Reese played a big part since she's come in. Couldn't get the push with her. They're trying again. Schmidt trying to crawl through right on that line right now for Queens, trying to retake the lead that they had earlier on. Reese gets over. Have not gotten the sign yet, and Princeton happy with the whistle there.
Yeah, that's a good defensive effort there from Princeton, holding up the try. So it's going to be a goal line dropout where they will have to drop kick the ball behind the goal line. Queens has an opportunity to here to get the ball back, but great defensive pressure from Princeton there. They saw that the Queens player came in a little bit high, so they just wrapped her up. And we're able to stop that try.
To get the try, you got to go over the line, touch the ball down in the try zone. So holding that try up, making sure she can't get it down. So well defended by the Tigers as Queens will take it back.
Yeah, and you know, that's exactly where the term touchdown came from. You hear it in football. Touchdown, you have to touch the ball down on the ground. It's funny enough that they don't call it that in rugby. They call it a try, but that's where the origination came from.
And it's called a touchdown in football where you do not have to touch it down anymore.
You'd think they flip it, but...
You would think that, but that would make too much sense.
Yeah.
So it'll be a scrum at the spot of the official.
So when you have a penalty, you have an opportunity to do a couple of things. You can take the quick tap, you can kick it down the field, you can kick it to touch, and you can also take the scrum, which a lot of teams do when they see that they're dominant in a certain area. So Queens has been very dominant in the scrum, getting penalties, getting advantages there, so I love the decision here.
Getting the edge of the jersey. Queens player slammed to the ground. Here's Schmidt working towards that try line once again. Can she get it for the Royals? No call. Still right on that line. Has not touched it down in the try zone. They'll go to the right side. This time it's good. The Royals in for 5. They take the lead here in the second half, 24-19.
Yeah, the Royals here have done a fantastic job of meeting their contact, gaining a few meters, and then getting those offloads. So being able to transfer the ball to your hand, to come around the defender to get it off. We see it there with the number 10 of the Royals, being able to separate the ball from the defender and being able to dot it down. Just a hard skill and a great effort from the Royals there.
Get that lead back for the first time since pretty early on in that first half. And now with 26 minutes left to go in the second, 24-19, and searching for 2 more, CC Scarf. It was Francesca Clark getting in on the try for Queens, her first of the day. Scarf to make it 26. Up and good. 26-19 Royals pull back ahead. Now by 7.
Yeah, a really big statement from the captain there. It took them a while to score points in the second half compared to the first half. We saw a lot of momentum from the Royals, so I think they did a really good job of staying patient, working their structure. We saw the pick and goes on those goal line carries, and then Salome Schmidt just getting the ball out to their 10, seeing that 9 and 10 connection. It's a really important team chemistry element to have in rugby, and they executed it very well.
So Princeton will kick. Nearly bobbled, but that's where we will start after the try And 2-point conversion from the Royals. 26-19. Queens looking for win number 2 on the year. Princeton 0-3. They need their first. Gregory dumps it off. A nice move on the hop step. Gets dragged down. It's Hazel Prawn on the bottom of the pile right now. El Shazli, the 9, gets brought down immediately. Now Gregory's trying to defend his Princeton yet to get out of there. Gregory now with it, moving on. Megan Hickey hit by the Royals. They're now pushing to the other side, seeing if they can find some open space a little bit. Here's a run. Great tackle, but moved perfectly. Wolf, couple meters outside the try zone. Here's Gregory again. She already has one. Stalled right at the line. Getting it to the outside. Who wins this battle? Over. Touch. The try for Princeton adds 5. They're down by 2. A conversion could tie it up, but the Tigers come right back to answer.
Yeah, I just want to applaud Charlie Wolf there for squaring up her defending opponent. You know, in rugby, you have to square up your defenders to make those gaps, and she just ran straight down, did exactly what she was supposed to do. There was a lot of drifting going on with that Princeton attacking side, but they were able to switch things around, straighten up, and eventually dot it down over the white line, and I think they did a really good job of staying in that fight because they had a long advantage, and things were getting really messy on that left side of the pitch.
Tiara Loughran, fullback for Princeton. Take the 2. Does it go? It does. She's excited about that one, too. Had some movement on it. Got it through. It's 26-26, a huge 2 points.
A little curve there, and we always talk about how important those points are in rugby. We see how close rugby games can be, and those 2 points were crucial. The game is tied up right now, 20 minutes left in the match. Princeton's going to have a lot of momentum here. How they can keep up with it is very important to the rest of the game, so we'll see what they do.
So with the Princeton try, Queens kicking it off. Weird bounce. The push there from Handwork. Wolf again. Continues to move it along for the Tigers. Princeton pinned inside the 22-meter.
It's going to be a knock-on from Princeton, which is going to be a scrum down, exactly where Queens wants to be once again with their strong, dominant pack. I just want to compliment Queens' defensive pressure right there. Princeton started at the blue line you see on the field, and they're pushed back this far. So that's just a strong effort to stay connected, stay in it, be patient, but still have those strong, dominant hits. And just like we were talking about earlier with Princeton's drifting attacking line, that's what happens sometimes. So you've got to square up your defender to keep the go forward in the match.
Annalise Richardson coming back in to this game after a rest. Amanda Gutierrez heads back to the bench. Here's a scrum in positive territory for Queens. Placed Royals will work from there. Could it be another one? Clark had the first. This one bobbled. She was brought down just ahead of the try line. Queens has to make up some real estate. They do. Taken back by Princeton. But a whistle, so Queens back up and ready.
Yeah, I think that's just a missed opportunity there for Queens. They had so many players on that left side of the pitch. If they could just get that ball moved outside, especially now you have Salome Schmidt playing center instead of scrum half. I think she could run a lethal crash line, so we'll see what they can do as they make their way up the pitch right now.
Queens battling. Princeton looking for yet another big defensive stand right in front of the try line. Another whistle, stalls play.
Yeah, just a knock on there from the Royals. And I think that's another missed opportunity there because you saw how many gaps were in the Princeton's defense. If they can just get that ball out quickly and attack those gaps with intent, you know, in rugby, coaches tell you all the time, if you're going to do something, do it 100% even if you do it wrong. So I think they need to kind of have that mentality going into the rest of this game as Princeton has the ball for this scrum down. They're under a lot of pressure to exit here or work their way up the field.
18 on our clock here at Dixon Field. The official keeps his own time. That's what we'll go off of, but that'll give you an idea of how much time is left to go.
That's a big scrum penalty here by Queens as they take the ball up the field, but called back by the referee. I think I'm here to say as a player that's a pet peeve. Whenever that happens, the referee wants you to take the mark. He's stopping for injury here, so it's a good decision. But as a player, you know you want to have that quick tack. You're fighting to get over the line. You're fighting to get down the field, but you have to do what the referee says.
Clark already saw the 5 points.
Yeah.
Right in front of her and ends up getting stopped, like you said, rightfully so for the injury.
Yeah, and a lot of times in rugby, they won't stop for injury if the injured player is out of the play. But you see, she's in the middle of the pitch, so good decision there for the referee.
So that is the 8, Maya Natord, getting off on her own power. Always good to see, but she will head to the bench at least for the time being.
And we're seeing some combination changes from both sides, specifically the Royals. We have the scrum half who's moved to center, which is a very challenging position to defend, but I think with Salome Schmidt's international experience, she's the perfect player to put right there, especially in such a close game.
No longer in that scrum half role for Salome Schmidt. Here's the push for Queens and a try. Royals add 5 on, 31-26 on a huge late score.
Yeah, and I think that's a really, really smart decision. They've been doing it all the time in this second half, Queens has. They're having their 8-man pick because you're just lacking in that defensive pressure from the flanker. Usually it's 8-man defensively with the 7, coming in hot, closing in on that attacking side, but it's just lacking when it's 13 versus 13, so they're capitalizing on the type of game that they're able to play and just easily getting over that try line.
Most points the Royals have scored in a match this year, 38 against Mount St. Mary's. They are at 31 right now. So we will see the 2 points from CC Scarf. They are good, so 33-26 right now here in Charlotte. And for Queens Sports, we're under a month away from the start of basketball season, and the Queens men's basketball team will have the honor of kicking off the NCAA season on November 3rd. The Royals will head to the Rock Hill Sports Complex to take on Winthrop. Tip-off is at 8 a.m. a.m. That is correct, on the Field of 68 YouTube channel. About 8 a.m. basketball. If you want to get up that early, Queens would love to see you. And the season just around the corner for college basketball, about to get underway in just a couple weeks. For now, we still got Saturday morning rugby, now early afternoon. Picking up a lot of space there. Reese gets brought down. In the second half, Queens got a try and Princeton answered almost immediately. This time Queens with possession, trying to keep them off the board as time winds down. Under 14 minutes left to go on the clock here at Dixon Field. This pass bounces down. Scarf gets it from Clark. Clark breaks through, dragged down, but in positive territory. Princeton working their way back. Loughran as it's taken back by Queens. Thought we saw the switch. Salome Schmidt playing that center now. Not in the scrum half position. See how that affects things for the Royals. Making that change. Whistle from the official.
Yeah, referee finally makes a call. It's going to be a knock-on from the Royals. I'm really interested in the game style that this referee is playing in this game, or that he's directing in this game. He's letting a lot of things go by giving the advantage to both teams to seeing how they play out, and I love that because it just keeps the game of rugby going as the number 10 can finally pick up her shoe that she was playing without for that entire set of game piece there.
So that's what was down there.
Yeah. And
so the shoe on and good, so she'll come back.
Yeah,
that's Clark.
And I think Clark is doing a really great job of connecting with her 9 and also connecting with her forward pack. She's able to feed the ball into space. You're seeing a lot of crash lines because of the disconnect in Princeton's defensive line. You're having a lot of shooters come up in the line, which leaves gaps, which allows for those crash line runners to make those big gain line carries, which is what we're seeing today.
Scrum right at midfield. It's Princeton's. Kenzie Al-Shazli still at the scrum half spot for Princeton, not making changes there. Much smaller bench for the Tigers as well, only having 5 reserves to choose from. Zavea slowly up the field, almost blown up by the Royals, keeps things going for the Tigers.
A great double tackle there from the Royals side. We haven't seen very many double tackles. We've seen a lot of one-up tackles or players coming in to support, but just having one lower player, one higher player coming in and driving them back is a perfect defensive play.
Already the most points that Princeton has scored this season. It's their first multi-try game of 2025. Big hit Ball gets free. Princeton grabs it right off the ground. And a whistle going against the Royals.
Yeah, there's that call there where the defensive player is just coming in a little bit too hot for the poach or for the defensive ruck, and they're not keeping their body weight up and having those hands hit the ground. So you got to keep the body weight up. So it's going to be Princeton's penalty as they take the quick tap.
Another big hit. See it get more and more physical as it's already been, but under 10 minutes to go now in a one-try game. 7 points separate these two, Royals leading. Prawn. El Shazli. Missed pass again for the Tigers. Just over that 22-meter line. Has Cuomo on the right, doesn't pass it. There it is. Barreling in over the line and gets a try for Princeton. 5 points on the board for the Tigers, and they're right back in it. 2 points away from the tie.
Yeah, and I believe that's a hat trick there for Cuomo, so just a fantastic game for her. She's doing exactly what a center needs to do. They're very strong defensively, and they're very strong attacking lines, and she's hitting those gaps exactly like a center should. So just a great finish there from her.
Got it at a good angle, too, so that's the spot we'll see the 2-point come from. And you mentioned it earlier on in this broadcast, how much these 2 points can matter. Example right here, when you got close games like these. Princeton to tie this one. Loughran up and in, 33-33.
Yeah, you know, that kick wasn't quite as difficult as the one on the edge, but sometimes those can be even trickier because of the pressure of how close the match is. You're closer to the center, but the pressure of those points can get to some players. So a really good job for Sierra there for making those 2 points to tie up the game with only under 10 minutes left to play.
Queens to kick. Now all tied up. Princeton has had an answer for everything. The first half, it was multiple tries for Queens before the Tigers got involved. Now in the second, they have answered every single time Queens has seemed to take what they hope is a final lead. Bobbling around, Gutierrez finally grabs it for the Tigers. Kicked on by Princeton. Grabbed by Pappas, the last line of defense.
Yeah, I thought that one was going to be called back. The referee, I mean, it was right in front of him. He saw that the ball went forward. But really strong defensive pressure from Queens there. But Princeton got off lucky there to get the ball back, so it'll be a scrum down to them.
Trainers out to check on Anouk Viverberg.
And I think what's making Queens able to have such strong defensive pressure in this game is the fact that you're seeing Princeton run a bit sideways. So when players start to run at angles like that, if Queens stays connected and comes up in unison in that connected line, they can have some big, big hits, which is what we saw a little bit earlier before this scrum.
Viverberg, all good. Trainers staying close by to help away from the play if needed. Scrum just over midfield. It's Princeton's. El Shazli places. Quamo gives this team these little bursts as she keeps running. Didn't have anyone on top of her, wasn't fully taken down. Gets right ahead of midfield. Now Princeton will try and add on it. Dragged down, Stella McBride. Now they'll go to the outside. Zavia still up. Rolls down. Get a whistle.
Yeah, just going to come back for a Princeton penalty in their favor. Queens was just off sides there, but just a fantastic effort from the 13 on the Royals side. That's exactly how you want to poach when there's an alone player. You make the tackle, swing the player back around, show your hands, get your hands in the ruck. So even though she didn't get the penalty herself because of an advantage call, a great effort there.
So Princeton restarts. Queens was ready, drags them down at the midfield line. Under 4 minutes to go on the clock here in Charlotte. 33-33. Kept in, it's right on the line. Went out first, be a line out for Princeton.
Oh, they tried to go quick there. They are allowed to do that if players aren't in the vicinity of the line out. But I believe it's Queen's ball, so definitely not allowed to do it in this situation.
So you're right, it was Queen's line out, so.
But like the idea and the intensity.
Not able to do that, but wasn't doing something that isn't a thing in rugby. Just wrong time. So Queens starts it on that line out this time and will continue play. Viverberg gives it up. Princeton takes it back, threatening outside the 22-meter, under 3 minutes to go.
Quick tap.
Quamo has had an outstanding game with 3 tries, looking for number 4. Gutierrez's pass, bobbled and fallen on by Clark. Open space for the Royals. Viverberg cuts inside. Nothing but green grass ahead for 13 in blue. Try for Queens. They'll take 5, 38-33 Royals up.
Yeah, you know, that's just exactly what you want to do in the last few minutes of the game and on senior day. The number 13 coming in hot. Queens, fantastic team effort there. They turned over the ball. You saw it was a 4-on-2, just playing the rugby that's in front of him, and it's exactly what you have to do in that moment, making the big step, reading the hips of the defender to come back to the center of the pitch and to be able to dot it down over the try line. Just a fantastic effort from Queens there.
A huge play from the 13. Now it'll go to the 12. Cece Scarf to kick for 2 to try and make this one 40-33 and put pressure on Princeton. Then they'll need a try and the 2-point to tie it up. As we get very late in this one, it'll be likely that Princeton will be able to make another push, and then we're getting towards the end of this game. Been a really, really good one. Here's Scarf to add 2. It's good. 40-33. Princeton here really late. They trail by 7.
And, you know, our clock says there's 35 seconds left in the game, but we're never quite sure what the referee has on his watch. It should be close to under a minute left, so going to assume that this could be one of the last plays of the game. So Princeton has to maintain possession of this ball. If the Royals hear that the watch, goes off for the final whistle, they can kick the ball out if they have possession, and that will be the end of the game. So a lot of pressure here for Princeton.
Regardless of how much actual time for the official, we know there's not much left in this game. We'll wait for his whistle. Queens with some open space again. Sweeney finally dragged down. Queens playing for the win now, up by 7. Reese.
They got to be careful here not to give away possession.
Want to keep it with the Royals. Clark dragged down. Salome Schmidt breaking for a couple more meters. Princeton in a bad spot here late. They need a try. They sent it out. And the Royals get the win. Final whistle blows. A classic here at Dixon Field, just back and forth the whole way between Princeton and Queens. But the Royals win 40-33. EC, that was a great one to watch.
Yeah, just an absolute fight to the last minute of that match. Queens did a fantastic job of staying in it. I think they ultimately won the game because of their defensive pressure, which Princeton kind of lacked with their gaps in the defensive line, so they were able to capitalize a little bit more. It was 13 versus 13, so it was an interesting game, and it was a fantastic one at that. So Queens came away with the win, and they did a fantastic job.
They get their second win of the season. Princeton will have to wait a little longer for their first. But that is all from Charlotte Dixon Field. Queens Royals getting the win 40-33 over the Princeton Tigers. For our whole crew, my partner Emma Claire Cantrell, I'm Nick Claus saying so long. Royals getting the win over Princeton. Have a great rest of your day. Thanks for watching.